If you received an I-20 looking like this or a DS 2019 looking like this, then my friend, you are on your way to the US and you need to apply for a US visa. Now, we actually go ahead and use a whole CRM on our YMGrad website to manage hundreds of clients that we're dealing with at any point in time. But what I can tell you is that you can do this all by yourself if you're doing it for yourself. It's really not that difficult. We just use the system because it's easier to manage multiple clients. The first thing, for instance, you have to do right here, as you can see, is you got to start with your DS-160. Why do you need your DS-160? Well, let me just show you. DS-160 form is actually a form that you use to inform the US government, the US embassy, of all of your dealings. Have you visited certain countries before? Do you have a criminal status? Do you have some sort of relatives in the US? Right? What kind of university you're going for? Are you going for tourism? Is it from someone else accompanying you? All of this information is in this one form. So it's a pretty long form, and this is the way you access it. You go onto this website and you click on start an application after you select where you're basically applying from, and then so on and so forth. You fill up this form. Now, this is a separate video in itself. If you want to watch how to fill up the DS-160, you want guidance on it, don't worry. I've created a separate video which you can watch on YouTube where I have explained each and every part of the DS-160. So you're going to be able to fill it down with me. It's going to take up 30 minutes or so, but it's going to happen. At this stage, once you've filled up the DS-160, my friend, the next step that you have to take is to look at the SEVIS fee. Now, we don't really mention SEVIS fee over here because it only applies to student visas, but you need to go ahead to the SEVIS fee payment website, and I'm going to, for instance, show you SEVIS fee payment, and then this fmjfee.com shows up. Don't pay it on the wrong website. Click on the SEVIS fee website, and you need to pay the SEVIS fee. So this one would be different for different visa classes. This one is going to be $350 for someone who's going for an F1 visa, for instance, $220 for someone going for a J1 visa. But what you do is you go ahead down here on this website and you click on I-901 fee payment. That's your SEVIS fee basically. You click on it and then you're required to enter your SEVIS ID. Your SEVIS ID can be found very neatly on the top left corner of your I-20. And if you're going for a J1 visa, then it's going to be on the top right of your DS 2019. Then you simply fill up your last name, given name, and date of birth, and you submit, and it's going to take you right to the payment shortly after that. After all of this is done, the third step that you should be involving in is the US visa account creation. Now, this is different for different countries. In India, for instance, we use US visa scheduling. Some people might be using US travel docs. Depends essentially on the country. How do you find that? You search for book US visa appointment. Then you click on this link, apply for US visa. Select your country. For instance, just for reference, I'm going to select India over here. And then you click on the kind of visa you need. Non-immigrant is, for instance, a student visa. In this case is non-immigrant. I'm going to go ahead and click over here on the visa login, and it's going to redirect me towards the Indian website for the visa login. Depending on where you're from, this website can be different for you. So make sure that you go through this process and determine the right website. Next, you're going to click on sign up now, and you're going to basically create an account by filling in these details. Once you're logged in, the next step is going to be the MRV fee payment. This is the fee that you pay for processing your visa to the US government, of course. What that means is that this fee is going to be paid to interview you, to do your fingerprinting and all of that. And hence, before you can even book an interview, they're going to ask you for this fee. This is paid directly on your visa portal itself, so it's pretty smooth to pay. It's easy. And once the client pays the MRV fee, we like to tick mark this so we know that this part is done, right? After that, as you can see, the next step is the appointment. We need to book an appointment for the client, or in this case, you need to book your own appointment. My friend, this is the part which has the most amount of trouble, the most amount of headache, because you have to keep on monitoring for slots. And many times, slots are available for 6 months later, 12 months later, whereas you need to travel maybe in a month or 2 months. So make sure that you start the process as early as possible. Don't waste time. If you've been watching this video and you're seeing this a little bit earlier, don't waste time. Start as early as possible. Book the earliest available slot. And if you're not able to find a suitable one, then make sure you sign up on YMGrad.com, because we're going to keep you updated on whenever these slots open up. We're going to keep sending you these alerts through which you can basically go ahead and book your own earliest slot as well, because we're monitoring 24/7 day or night. After the appointment is also booked, we move on to the part with the finances. For many visa types, you need to prove that you will have enough finances to stay in the US. This is especially true for student visas like the F1 and J1s, where you need to prove that you will be able to pay the tuition, your living expenses, whatever basically you need in order to stay comfortably and study in the US. Now, in order to essentially show these finances, we personally have a whole guide that we give access to essentially for all the clients. and we give samples and everything. So if you're working with us, you can actually get that guide from us, and it'll actually be available on your dashboard itself. But let's leave that apart. Let me give you a brief guideline over here. Everything in the guide basically pertains to the following pointers. Your finances should be liquid. They should not be illiquid. You cannot show an asset such as real estate. You cannot show that I have these 5 buildings, because that money, my friend, is not in your hands today. Whatever the valuation of those 5 buildings might be, until and unless you have that money in your bank account in liquid form, in accessible form, that's not going to be good enough in most cases. Second, your finances need to be non-fluctuating. You cannot show stocks. Even though stocks are very liquid, you can just get them out tomorrow. Well, in most cases, you'll be fine. But however, many times what can happen is that the value of the stock can fluctuate wildly. You can have almost nothing left, or you can have double the amount tomorrow. And hence, it's very important that you make sure that you do not use stocks, because they will not accept it. You should liquidate the stock first, and then you should use it. So things such as bank statements, bank account balance sheet, loan letter, essentially approval of the loan, essentially all these things can be used easily. Sometimes even fixed deposits, as long as they are liquid, can be used. Once we verify the client's finances and help them prove it, this part gets done. And the final part is the mock interview. This is the most important part. People sometimes think this is nothing, but this is the most important part, my friend. And I'll tell you the reason why. You guys are probably going for a student visa, right? F1, J1. These visas are not dual intent. That means that they don't allow you to permanently settle down in the US. And you should not have an intention of doing so if you're going for such an interview. And hence, what happens is that in this visa interview, the officer will try to see if they can apply the 214B rejection towards you. What is the 214B rejection? It's just a rejection that says that, hey, we feel that you might actually go ahead and settle down in the US, and that's why we're not going to give you this visa. And this is the most common rejection type. If you're not prepared, my friend, I can tell you for sure, 2 out of 4 people right now, almost 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4 people most of the times actually get this rejection. And the worst part, this rejection comes at the very end. So you've done all the process, you've gotten admission, you're basically going through at the very end, last step of the process, they give you a rejection. So all your plans are cancelled. Now, to avoid this, we have 2 ways to interview for you. Number one is, of course, the best way that of course, if you're working with us for the visa application or for our mock interviews, basically support essentially on our website, you can take a look at that. Human experts will basically be training you for your circumstance. And we've done thousands of cases. We can train you on the basis of your situation, let you know what kind of questions will be asked, let you know what kind of answers will be given. Now, if you don't want to go for these services, that's fine. We also have a whole set of videos on YouTube explaining each and every question, the strategy that we employ for that question. The answer just won't be customized according to your requirements and your circumstance, but you'll be able to use it. So make sure that you watch that playlist. And we also have a cheaper alternative for you. Don't worry, we didn't forget about that either. Let's say that you want to go ahead for the AI US visa mock interview. This one is basically an AI visa officer trained on 3,000 plus samples of actual real interviews. You just click start over here and you basically start connecting with him. You start with hello officer, and then the whole interview can go on over here. You can use your voice. It's very simple, and you can start the interview. From here, the officer is going to ask you about everything that a visa interview officer might ask you, and they're going to give you at the end some tips and tricks to improve your answers and chances of acceptance. They'll even tell you whether interview is accepted or rejected on the basis of your answers. So this is a very cheap alternative. Just from somewhere around $5, you can actually get access to this one as well. And remember, if you're signing up for the first 100 people who sign up after watching this video, we are automatically giving 1 free access to this mock interview. So make sure that you sign up on YMGrad.com, and you might actually get this access as well. But my friend, that's everything you need to do after you get your I-20 or DS 2019. And this video, I feel, is not only just giving you the tips and tricks, and I'm giving you a whole pathway. Each and every step I have videos for, I have resources for that I've shared with you in this video. So if you appreciate my effort, please do just one thing: share this with the people who need to know. And of course, if you like the content and you'd like to see more of this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I also have my WhatsApp number down there, so if you have any questions, you can reach out. And thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, goodbye and take care.